Hi YouTube, welcome. It's Second Wake, episode 48. I'm Kareem Zamir, those are Seekers of Galanti, this is Second Wake. Hi, me in editing. Hope I remembered it this time. Thank you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, when we last left our heroes, the Seekers of Galanti, they were... I'm not going to go into this. I want to see from another perspective. I want Kobold Jones. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out, brother! What happened last time on Second Wake? Ooh.
All right. Well, the episodes that kind of blend together for me. So I think it started with us. Wait, did it start with us coming back home, or did it start with us, finding the guards? I can't remember.
Started with you getting through the mushroom forest, brother.
Perfect. All right. So we found some creepy mushroom dude that we decided to just like not get near, and then we had D3, and he ran through the mushroom cloud. He saved our lives for some sort of a bargain that I don't care about because it wasn't me who made it. And then so we left there, and then we were like, okay, well, we got to find some way to get through this area. We're going to try to head south to this like port place, and then that way we can get out of here. Well, trying to figure out a way to cross the river that was potentially dangerous, and we have a bunch of people who might not be able to swim. We found an old, like, fallen down tree that was a bridge, and we're like, that's the spot. That's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be perfect. Well, it wasn't perfect. There was a guard there, and he accosted us. And you know how authority figures are, not cool guys. So he came up on us, and he's like, "Yo, Belethil, she ran away from her arranged marriage. And so all of you are now under arrest." And I was like, whoa, I don't think so. That's not how this works, bud. That's not kobold culture. All right. You're not being okay here. But, he was not okay. And he just kept, coming after us. And Veltil, she gave herself up. She didn't decide that, we should just beat him up. Like, even if we went with him, we could have still beat him up. But nobody wanted to beat him up. So we didn't beat him up. And so she got arrested. And then we had this like heartstrings pulling moment where Velthil said that she would be right next to any of us that were in the same position as her. And then all of my group caved like instantly. They're like, yeah, we're going with mom. And I was like, nah, I just like gave this guy an attitude. Not a cool idea. I don't want to do that. And then but they all went, and I'm like, peace, I'm walking here. So I walked here, and I walked into the woods, and then they rode in a cart, all happy and chained up and whatever, and then went to prison, and I don't know what happened after that.
That checks out. So before we move on, I do want to address something here. The viewpoints and considerations of Kobold Jones are not reflective of that of Second Wake. I'm sure there are a number of people in an authoritative position that are good, wholesome people that don't beat up the innocent or arrest people without reason. Just so we're clear. Moving on. That just about rounds it up. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Boop, boop, boop. I think that's updated now. Looks good. Okay, cool. Thank you for doing that, Osley. When you guys last met, Kobold Jones said, peace, I ain't going to jail. I don't do good in captivity. I'm an alpha, and walked away.
It's more like a menace to society. What I said.
Menace to society, coward, words. They're just words that people use. No big deal.
Hey, look, they took free ride, and I walked through dangerous woods. So who's the coward now?
Sure. Okay, yeah. You tell your truth, King. That's all I got to say. So with that, you all, the Seekers of Galanti, have willfully submitted themselves to hearing out the reasons for their detaining, as Velethil has been wanted for quite some time under the call that she has failed to appear and otherwise vacated an arranged marriage partner that she was associated with to a Mr. Sir Luneth Dawnseeker, who lives here in Nymeria. The elven culture, of course, allowed for freedoms of the people involved to enact immunity and walk off, as they are not of Aurelia, or at least those who might be are not openly about being of Aurelia. No one else is handing out signet rings and documents and papers and stuff. But that is where we will bring you guys in today. So I'm going to do this super quiet, like, hopefully. Let's do it like that. And there we go. Okay, that should work. So, Seekers of Galanti. It has been a number of hours, a long rest, in fact, of which many of you are now feeling better than you might have ever felt in your entire lives, I would say. As we finally did the experience calculator, and yeah, you know, when you don't give experience to players in Dungeons and Dragons for, I don't know, like 5 to 6 months, they accrue a lot of it, and then when you hand it to them, they go, "Hey, Kareem, you realize this is enough for like 2 levels, right?" And I went, "No, I did not, because I was not paying that close attention to it, because why would I? That's not my problem." So yeah, many of our, I think all of our players now are level 7. Is that right? Everyone's level 7 sitting in jail, or in detention. So yes, over the last night, nearly at this point, nearing on a full day, you all have been treated to surprisingly well accommodations. You have been provided an area of which to bathe. You have had your clothes replaced with very fine, noble-esque outfits of beautiful silks, befitting the colors and regalia of Nymeria proper. Each of you has been well fed, manicured, taken care of, and for the most part, just kept in good spirits. The cell of which you all share, while it does have a kind of like fanciful bar that runs the length of it, still houses a number of soft beds, a large table through which you guys can all commune with, and much in the way of it, other than the shackles that many of you have that damper and kind of restrain magical or supernatural abilities. Past that, you have been allowed to keep much of what you've had on you. No weapons and armor outwardly, unless there is some type of bond or connection that would be too difficult to sever or an inconvenience of such. With that, many of you have wards and bonds to protect you from harrowed enemies, and it's not the purpose of the guard regimen in Nymeria to ever really inconvenience people in such a manner that would be life or death unless it is called for. With that, though, you guys have now spent the better part of about a full 24-hour day sitting in wait for what happens next, as many of the guards get the word out and seek arrangements with a number of people. It has been a full 2 nights that you've sat within this cell, allowed to come and go to various small facilities. There's an open yard of which you can see the sunlight and commune with other folks that are being detained. Many people either note that yes, in fact, they did break an accord, or just claim they're innocent. And you know, just how it is. Over these last 24 hours, everything has gone fairly uneventfully. The only thing that has really occurred in this instance is you're not quite sure if it was when he last went to go check on something, one of the kind of like extenuating facilities, but at this point now, as you guys are waking up for the second time, you note that Bartholomew Earden is no longer in your cell and has not come back for several hours at this point.
Best case scenario, he got injured and is in some sort of med bay, a clinic. Worst case scenario, figured out or made to be someone's bitch. I don't know which one would have happened to him, honestly.
Buddy.
I don't know either. How long do we have to sit here, though?
As long as it takes for things to get in order for my family and at least likely my Rose family. I'm not 100% sure.
Do we call him your fiance or your...
Well, I'm hoping by the end of this, none of those things. I Just call him Sir, or if he's attained Lorddom, Sir or Lord Dawnseeker. I had heard he'd be doing pretty well for himself as a member of the Treasury.
Is there anything you don't want us to talk about in particular around your folks or around any of these folks?
Well, if they haven't figured out who Claire is, we should not say anything about that to anyone.
Yeah,
I really should try and not have him near my parents as they could recognize him, but that could be what's happening right now. I'll have to see if we can get the guards' attention to ask where he might be. Because if he's discovered, that's actually very bad for him.
But what about us? Is it bad for us?
Maybe. I don't. I wish I knew. In 2 days.
You know,
So
I hope the kobold's okay out there too.
that's what I wanted to ask. Celeste, you've been partnered with him for some time. I was a bit surprised that you split ways from him.
Yeah, you know, I honestly thought he would get in the cart. I knew he was stubborn, obviously, but I didn't think he was also stupid. So, I'm sure he's fine though. You know, he's pretty strong, and he's been on his own for a while before we got teamed up, and he'll be fine, right?
I hope
Right?
so.
Yeah. No, he
I-
will.
I wish I'd tried to say more to convince him.
Oh, you can't.
Was a
convince him.
bit-
When he's made up his mind, there is no change in that. Like, it's just set. I probably should
Still.
have gone with him, huh? It's probably
Maybe.
All
We
alone
won't
out
know until the end. Maybe he's fine, but maybe he's not.
no.
Hopefully he headed to the Cross Rivers. We can try and look for him there, maybe.
DM,
Yes, sir.
how is Orville feeling in relation to his link to Jonesy over there?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
All right, well, ladies, you know, Jonesy and I can feel each other's pain, and I ain't hurting too bad, so
Really?
I can only assume he's all right.
So you could
That is
feel
true.
everything that he feels?
To a degree, I wouldn't say it's the same, but
Okay. So, like, if he's hurting, you'll hurt?
yeah.
Okay. I punch Orville in the arm.
Okay. Cobalt Jones, please make me a charisma saving throw.
I need to get dice.
Oh, you weren't expecting that. I'm sorry. Blame Celeste.
That's a 5.
It's a 5. You have a moment early in the second morning as you are in the area that you've arrived in, and as you're kind of like thinking about the next step of your plan, your master plan, as it is being laid out. You consider and think, having recovered and rested well, and as you kind of start looking over a number of the documents that have been spread out before you, you reach up with your good arm, and suddenly just a sharp, dulled pain runs through your arm, and you immediately feel as if your entire arm has gone numb on pins and needles.
Must be having another stroke.
Cut back to prison.
So, did he feel that, Orville?
Well, I felt it. I think he felt it too.
Sorry, you know, I wanted to give him a piece of my mind, and I just couldn't hold out until we saw him next, you know?
That's fair enough. I forgive you for that one, Celeste.
Thank you.
He probably deserved it.
No, he definitely deserved it.
You're right, he did. I might have deserved it too.
I'm going to try and get a guard's attention and see if I can ask where our cellmates vanished off to.
Sure. You easy enough to do. Like literally right across from your cell, there's guards on watch at all times. You kind of just like wave over to one of them, and you see one walk forward, kind of like a spear in hand, and looks over and goes, "Yes, mightn't I help you, ma'am?"
Yes, sir. We had one of our cellmates, our companion, head out to use facilities recently and hasn't come back yet.
Yes, the High Elven man, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, he has been removed from the premises.
Might I inquire as to the reasons?
Oh, you were not aware. Our eternal sympathies, your ladyship. The individual you traveled with, going by the name of Claire, was identified by the head of staff as being a individual known as Bartholomew Iridin, who has been long since banned from the nation of Aurelia and the city of Nymeria. They have thusly been vacated from the premises and sent on their way. Snap cut to Buddy at the gates of Nymeria, and it's the opening of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they just throw him out. Ah! Was there another question you had, ma'am?
Any news or information on when we can expect to hear from my families or the families of those who are involved in my scandal?
Oh, yes, actually, ma'am. There has been some progress made on that. I do believe later today you are expecting a visit from a member on the behalf of the council who will speak to you in regards to your situation and see that everything is brought forward into new light and understanding. We do apologize for any hassle you might have had at this point.
No, it's been a difficult and unexpected situation. You've all been very reasonable.
We are very happy to hear of your approval, ma'am. And certainly we do take that consideration very closely, being who you are. Regardless of your current standing, we do appreciate that you'd speak well of the guard staff here. Many are worried that such review of poor care could negatively impact the department as a whole.
Oh, I have nothing but praise for what I've experienced here, and I'm hoping that this can all end amicably and well, and of course the guard will look swimming for having helped handle another situation.
Yes. We can only hope that as well, ma'am. Mightn't your friends have any need for further assistance or amenity that has not yet been provided to them? We have procured a rather standard breakfast, and he gestures to the table, and you guys have already been having like fresh-made bread, lots of fresh-made fresh cut and available veggies. And there's actually, like, shockingly, there's just a bottle of elven wine that has been provided to you guys in like small little tin cups, but like actual like nice high-grade wine.
Does anyone need anything? Have any questions?
Val, maybe you could ask if they could get us some grub for Orville. I kind of feel bad because I punched him, you know?
Yeah, there's no meat here.
Like an
Where's the
actual grub.
Yeah, you know, like those squishy little bugs that you find under wood.
Orville, do you want me to ask for your snacks, or do you want me to actually ask for proper meat?
Can I get both? Is there a combo meal option? Maybe with a fizzy drink on the side?
let's see what I can do. My goblin companion has a rather unique diet and needs. We're curious if any other meats or large squishy insects could be gathered for him to snack upon.
Preferably non-poisonous, if you would. I'll take what I can get, though.
Large, squishy insects, like bugs or... Okay, meat is what we are asking for, is that right?
Yeah, well both. He's very particular. If we could get just a proper little... Whatever can be provided is fine, but if it's at all possible.
Very good, then. I will see what the cooks can come up with.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And he'll exit, and as soon as he leaves he goes up to a far door from the kind of holding cell you guys are in. He knocks twice on it. It opens. He speaks in Elvish back and forth with the guard. They switch places, and a new guard walks in who's kind of like straight back, spear, armor is impeccable. Like every single square inch of it has been shined to a mirror polish. Those of you trained in insight, go ahead and give me a roll. And your guard exits the room to, of course, deliver your message and see what they can figure out about the grub situation, as it were.
Does that include me?
No, Cobalt Jones, you do not have to roll insight on a thing you cannot see nor understand. But if you reach out through the Force, Orville might be able to feel you.
Oh, we're not getting sued.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I said
the farce.
The farce. Yes, the vibes.
The vibe.
Yes.
I reached through the vibes.
Through the parasitic insights that lives inside of you.
Consume you.
Yes. Let the vibes consume you. Harsh, they're mellow. You know it to be true. All right. So those of you with insight, what did we get for rolls?
I got a 9.
A 9? Okay, yeah, no big deal. Just
I got a 10.
yeah, nice, fancy elf people. I don't know, they seem great. Yeah, overall, don't worry about it. It just seems like they're doing their utmost to make sure everyone's happy and get a 5-star review on Yelp.
I got a 12.
A 12 is pretty good. You get the middling suspicion at a 12 that like there's something more to just having a noblewoman in a holding cell. They seem like even more so like on their absolute best behavior today.
Hey, Belle.
Hmm?
Do you think that they would be willing to get us pillows and blankies since we're stuck down here?
We have pillows and blankets. There's several very nice beds.
I
You
know, but
look
like,
and there are in fact very nice beds with lots of silk.
maybe we could get more blankies and build a fort.
If we're here
Just
by...
think about it. Don't answer right now.
If we are here by evening, still,
Yeah.
we'll look into that. That is an evening activity.
Like team building?
Yes.
Yes.
Like you promise?
Team fort building.
Woo!
We'll build a team fortress.
Okay, then in the fortress, we'll plan our great escape. Oling in the fortress, and if it comes down to that.
That's... Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. We'll discuss such options then.
Okay, good idea.
Some time passes. Your initial guard for this morning returns with a kind of like shielded bit of what appears to be like a serving tray. They switch guard positions again, and he unlocks kind of the opening part of the bars to kind of like set your food down and hand it over to you. He goes, "This was the best they could come up with. I do believe it is a certain thing known as a hamburger."
Is there any way I can just like full raccoon this? Just like grabby hands, go
yeah.
at it. Yeah.
You immediately put it down on the table, lift the lid up. He closes the little like locking mechanism so that he can slide you the food. You open it up and you look, and it's like, in a very vague sense, this looks like if you explained what a burger was to someone who's never seen one. And you look at it and it's like there's the butt end of a loaf of bread on top. There's like a regular piece of bread on the bottom. There's a third piece of bread in the middle, and they're lot of lettuce, tomato, onion. There's types of like mustards and stuff that have all been pressed onto this. And then you look like at the patty where like the bun should be, and it's this kind of like well pressed, and it looks like a bun. And you go and you take a big bite of it. There is no meat on this thing. You get like a crunchy taste. There's like hints of like smokiness, like it's been cooked and like grilled and seared. But this is not meat, whatever this is.
Is it edible? Does it taste
Oh,
good?
yeah, it tastes great. You're literally just eating like a very crunchy salad that's been dressed up very nicely.
All right.
If anything, it's imagine without the grease, it's an Impasa burger. It's very salty. It's
gotcha.
as vegetable as we can make meat.
Would you say it's a bean burger?
Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is a bean burger at this point. Yeah.
Called it. Yes.
Calls it. Oh, it feels good. Colbull Jones, 1. The world, 304.
Orville's gonna absolutely just like scarf it down,
All right, you wolf it down.
and then like pause for a second after, and just be like, "I don't think there was meat in that, Val. Not bad, but like, what's with you people, I guess, and not eating meat?
You've
that a
seen
thing?
me eat meat.
Well, what's with them and not
It's-
eating meat?
It's a customary diet to not cause such damage to nature.
Okay. Does Orville have any idea what eating meat and damaging nature would have, DM? Like any correlation between that, or is that just
I mean, you're not trained in nature. You're not trained in
Nope.
elves.
no?
Yeah, like you have no knowledge of the culture. There are elves that here that you've obviously met elves and half elves that eat meat proudly in doing so. But yeah, just for whatever reason, I don't know. They're probably a bunch of weirdos. To you, they're probably a bunch of weirdos.
A bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, a bunch of weirdos.
Got it.
Yeah.
Heard bunch of weirdos.
Bunch of non-meat eating weirdos. All right.
Well, yeah. If I can't have meat, at least they made it taste good. I'll take what I get.
Very true. So you all enjoy your food. The guard keeps watch over your cell for quite some time. As a few hours pass, you all begin to hear kind of like a rattling of various stations' armor. You can hear shouting from outside, people being called to attention. In the far off distance, you can hear a horn being blared, as if like there's something on ceremony that's happening. And before long, you watch with kind of like hurried things as the door leading to the facility outside of your holding cell opens and swings wide. And you see what effectively is a small procession. The guard on duty straightens up even further, as if the rigidity of him has made him statuesque in a sense. You watch as there is an individual that strides into the room among a guard escort, who is clad in a very tight-fitting black outfit of leathers, every inch of their body covered by this kind of like abysmal black look. They are wearing a mask that is almost sunken into their mouths. Their eyes seem to be pupilless, as the mask does not show anything of that. Vel, you know this individual to be a member known as the Silent Ones. They are elite guard, trained assassins, and the best of the best that only accompany the upper echelon of Nymerian culture and society. Outwardly, they do not carry weapons, but there are none deadlier in the entirety of the country of Aurelia than these individuals. As this individual walks in, they turn, look, and seem with these kind of like these eyeless fronts, review the room before turning back and giving a small gesture of their hand to whoever still lingers outside. You all watch, striding into the room, and you can hear this kind of like clicking sound of heels kind of prance upon the well-marbled floors of the cell. And you watch, striding into the room, this 6-foot-tall, kind of almost picturesque version of what elven hierarchy ought to be. An individual of dazzling white hair, a very prominent shouldered cape with a high collar that rises up almost to his very large ears. He has everything immaculately dressed as far as for elven noble outfits. He has a number of dazzling assortments of rings and small pieces of jewelry that run across the various forms of him. And he wears a very prominent gold and platinum banded monocle over one eye. The only thing that really would distress you about his appearance is at the very tops of his brow, you see that he has a number of dark inset veins that run the length of his forehead up to the kind of burrow of his hair. But everything almost seems ethereal about this individual. Velithil, you very much recognize this individual as a one Sir Luneth Dawnseeker, your betrothed at one point in time. As this person kind of strides in, again, while you hear the sounds and steps of his feet against the marbled floors, you actually don't see anything other than almost a levitating move as he glides effortlessly across the floor. Again, his outfit, that of a heavy traveling cloak and a very well-groomed, collared and coiffed underjacket. As he walks into the room, he kind of looks across each and every one of you very slowly before narrowing his gaze on Velithil. And you hear this individual speak to you, and he goes, "Well now, Velithil Downvey, as I live and as I breathe, I had thought you and I would never again see eye to eye, yet here we are. Has she been well?" And he turns to the guard, and you see the guards go, "Yes, sir. We've spared no expense at ensuring her safety, round-the-clock guard presence, anything that they might need, food or anything at all, sir." "Good. You may go now. Your presence will no longer be required here. You may close the door on your way out." "But sir, you might require. They are Weaver's chosen. They are powerful. We have not removed all of the weaponry or magical items from them." He turns and once again kind of coldly looks, like he's kind of not cold, but very analytical view. It's almost as if his eyes are looking deeper into you to discern what you are made of rather than what you're wearing. And turns back and goes, "That might be the case, truly and desperately so, but Weaver's chosen would never be bested by gods. If indeed they didn't want to be here, they wouldn't be here. If their intention was to cut down every man, woman, and child in their path, no force in the Nymerian God could stop them from doing so. It is by their will that we all stand here piddling about. So you may go, and my safety is assured knowing that they are here to talk, and not to enact violent things." You hear, of course, sir. You heard him." And all the guards slowly file out of the room. The only person that stays is the silent one, this masked, all black, worn figure. And they kind of you see them lean up against the wall as the guards leave, and in a shimmer, almost like a chameleon, they seem to vanish from sight. So Luneth kind of very much takes off his traveling coat and rolls it over one arm before hanging it up onto a nearby hooked wall. He produces a long kind of almost decorative looking piece of iron wrought metal, and holds it in front of the lock, and you hear a clicking and a rounding sound of the tumblers, and the door kind of swings open as approach. He stands at the very edge of this cell that you all find yourselves in, and looks to you and goes, "I do hope you all have found hospitality here in Nymeria to be most acceptable. They haven't hurt you, have they, Velithil?"
No, it's... Considering the situation, everything's been quite well.
Very good. Might we sit and discuss matters as we find them this day?
Yes, that would be good.
Very good. I assume you have enough chairs for everyone? He kind of strides into the jail cell with you all.
Did they give us enough chairs?
Yeah, there's one for each of you.
Yeah.
But does everyone sits around the table? You all sit and kind of like in a weird way stand. You sit all around this like kind of prison table. Again, now realizing it was likely good accommodations on the event that someone of this stature would show up and arrive here. You see Sir Dawnseeker kind of flick his wrist, and you hear the sound of a collapsing cane erupt out from like kind of beneath his fingers. You hear it click into place, and he stomps it at the open area near the table. He kind of then sits down on what appears to be just air. You see the cane go rigid and straight, and it seems as if he is sat levitating next to this cane. He looks over to each of you and he goes, "I am terribly sorry for my rudeness, but I am so used to these days of my reputation preceding me. I am Sir Luneth Dawnseeker, Hand of the Council and Head of the Treasury here in Nymeria, and, of course, the once approved betrothal of your Miss Dowenvey. A pleasure, I'm sure."
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you. How have you found Nymeria thus far?
I don't know if any of us could particularly say any which way, but our accommodations have been just fine.
That is good to hear at the very least. It is so rare that we welcome outsiders this deep within the city, as well as those in the best of company. He turns and kind of like just gives a nod to this. Looks to you, Vel, and goes, "Now I am distraught over what I have heard this last day. I had thought you had left Nymeria and the borders of Aurelia forever. So you must understand my confusion at your sudden remittance to the borders. Moreover, in what now, a decades-long wait?"
Well, it was not an intentional return. There were unforeseen circumstances. And yet I was not expecting this welcome. If I did ever return, I thought that my departure was a bit more well understood.
Oh, I am sure that it was very understood, at least by your mother. I think there was always a sense that she saw eye to eye with you while she reigned on the council. But your father, I think, understood things a bit better as it related to the hierarchy here in Nymeria. You must understand, a individual in my position is tasked and burdened with appearances and quelling any rebellious rumors that might arise from perhaps a woman that would rather see the world than see herself happy with one of the most powerful unions Nymeria has ever written of. Surely you can understand.
Now, I can tell quite well from what you've brought yourself to be. When I left, you were just aspiring as a member of the Treasury, not leading it, and I do give you quite the kudos for that.
Kudos, is that a northern thing?
I suppose I have taken on certain vernacular and more commonplace with a bit more lax, and it's pleasant. But yes.
I am very happy to hear for you, Velithil, that Things have been pleasant where you have wandered far from our view. In your absence, I am sorry to say that a number of things have changed rather rapidly. Your father has finally accepted a position offered to him to be the Echo of Elderwyn. You know this to be a singular position within Nymeria of the only person that can contact the elves that still live in Elderwyn. Being the Echo means that he is almost like, in a weird way, like a step down from a president. He's more like the voice of the true rulers of the Aurelian government.
When did this occur?
Oh goodness, now what, 4, 5 years ago at this point? It's a bit of a blur. Everything has been moving ever so quickly.
What of my mother and her position as a senator?
Oh, of course, she had a number of things left to do on the council, but once her only daughter left the city, there were a number of other members of the council that viewed such a willingness to collaborate with a free spirit such as yourself as a, shall we say, dour mark on her reputation. Thusly, we did manage, however, to salvage such things and allow your father to be elevated, but your mother has, of course, now retreated to Elderwyn proper, for which she shall live out the rest of her existence.
Yeah.
Yes.
To my understanding, my family's standing before wasn't like near being close to being welcomed into Elderwyn, right?
Usually people who get welcomed at Elderwyn are like the top of their class, or like people who have discovered things that are just far and beyond like what is considered to be normal magical society. Elven culture, poets that would, kind of like if we were to like put it in real world terms, like you would put like Da Vinci and those kinds of folks into Elderwyn, where they can effectively pursue their craft ad nauseum and move on from that. Your mother, to her credit, was always a senator, and always held a position on like the ruling council, but more as a like tertiary consideration. She wasn't so important that like she was a head of agriculture or anything. It was just kind of more like her and your father always kind of had like a presence near and around the council circulating.
See.
Yes, it's truly a glorious occasion when she was sent and allowed access to Elderwind. But of course, such things do come with their own troubles, and I myself spoke to her before she left in hopes that she might reconcile with her daughter. But she sought that she did not want to interrupt the woman you were becoming free of the borders of Aurelia. I am truly sorry you had to find out like this.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Does that mean she'll never talk to her mother again?
Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry. Velithil, I had assumed that you would tell your compatriots of our people and our processes, but it is welcoming to hear that you have kept such secrets, and we do, of course, thank you. It would be dishonorable, to say the least, to allow foreigners additional information as to the progress that Aurelian has for culture. I apologize, ma'am. I do not wish to address you incorrectly. Who might you be?
I'm JJ Lightning, sir.
JJ Lightning. Your 2 letters, do they stand for something?
Yes, but I've gone with JJ for so long at this point. It's essentially my name.
Well, it'd be rather unbecoming of a member of my station to address anyone other than properly. So what is your name, darling?
Jackie, sir.
Jackie. Well, Miss Jackie, here within the Aurelian borders, we, of course, welcome many travelers if they are willing to make the long and arduous trip deep within the hearts of our forests. Here in Nymeria, we welcome a number of, well, traders and explorers to the outside circles of Nymeria. They, of course, are not kin, nor are they truly trusted members of society, and thusly they are kept where we might expect visitors to go. Nymeria has always been the seat of power here in Aurelia. However, in our culture there is no greater honor than retiring to Elderwyn, the city among the mountains. It is in that valley crescent and the nearby lake that the best of our culture, the best of our very race, as it still persists here within the Everwild, do their work, and forward and progress great insight and breakthrough into all things at all times. They then impart their knowledge to the Echo, and the Echo speaks of all of the great things that will happen.
Wonderful. That sounds very deep, and important.
Truly, there is no greater honor than spending the rest of your eternal life within the borders of Elderwyn. Might you have any further questions, Jackie?
No, sir. Thank you for letting me interrupt.
Of course, please feel free to speak freely here. I know that I am a man very close to our council here and of high political standing, but I would prefer it if Velithil's friends would consider me to be their friend. You don't need to be so formal. Perhaps you could even call me Sir Luneth instead of by my house name.
Yes, sir, Sir Luneth.
Thank you so much for that. He turns back and looks to you, Velithil, and he goes, So then I understand this is a rather embarrassing set of circumstances, and I would like to make sure that both you and I have an understanding in this regard. I am sure you are not done with your day's adventuring, nor have you arrived here by a pointed choice, as you've so proclaimed. So I think it might be for the best of us if we just come to an agreement of sorts here and now, allow you transportation and be on your way for whatever thing it is that you are doing, and in turn I shall return to my station ensuring that your father reigns in the greatest years that this country has ever seen.
If that was the intention and desire, why even have a order out for my detainment for this?
Well, in truth, the order was more of a, well, not to say fabrication, but truthfully one that I needed to put forward for the good of my own home. You see, I have yet to take another wife or partner in this public sense, and it was not public knowledge that your refusal of our arrangement be made. So, much to the consideration of your father and myself, we thought it might be best, and truthfully so, we thought you would never return to Aurelia willingly, so we would simply state that you had fled, thus preserving the good name of the Dawnseekers, and of course stating that, under no uncertain terms, you had pursued other ventures and had fled in such a way. That way, we would not further damage the good name of both the House Dawnseeker and that of House Dowenvey. Your father was in the midst of a number of enterprising political movements that the sudden disappearance of his only daughter might have, shall we say, complicated matters in the eye of the public.
I see. And so, without me here to take any blame aside from that assumption, it was my mother that most of it fell upon.
Unfortunately so. The stress and difficulty in dealing with the questioning was, from what I have been made to understand, rather maddening for her. She loves you so very much, and just wanted to ensure that the freedoms that we speak of here in Nymeria were afforded to even you in such a difficult political situation. But no matter. A decade has gone. You've allowed yourself to free yourselves of the roots that were ingrained upon you here within Nymeria and the Aurelian continent. So truthfully, I am sure you have no need to stay along any further. If you'd be so kind as to it, we could agree on this matter diplomatically. We, of course, will do nothing regarding the discretions in which you face now for the failure of agreement in an otherwise deranged circumstance. And, of course, in regards and in considerations, we will provide a way in which you and your associates can go about your business, do the... what's the word for it? Heroics that you so spoke of, the world you had yet to explore, the colors you have yet to seen, and the smells you have yet to sniff, I believe, were some summation of those words some many years ago. In return, I just ask that you, well, sign a number of key documents stating such things as truth, and, of course, there will be the matter of your ascendancy. That would, of course, have to be waived in this instance.
What does he mean?
You know, for the most part, Nymerian culture is very atypical in a sense. For the most part, it is not the firstborn son of a house that is left an inheritance of a family or controlling power of that family. It is often the women of the family. It is a matriarchal right. So being that your mother is currently not in the Nymerian borders, she's with an Elderwin, it would mean that currently your father is leading the family without right or writ. Because if your mother is disposed, it means that you would be the next in line for all that your name holds here within Nymeria.
And as some friends of mine would say, hypothetically.
Hypothetically?
Hypothetically.
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 What if I didn't agree to sign such documents.
Oh, goodness. Well, at the very least, your adventuring days would be far, far over, and we would have to follow pursuits in which we would have to clear up this business of a crime being committed. It would, of course, look very poorly on your family, as they've all more or less confirmed that story as truth, and your friends would likely never see you again. You'd have to give up this whole business that you're about, working for some human, or what have you. Of course, you'd be expected to take up the mantle your mother left behind and follow the path of being a senator, and more than likely find yourself deep within the council chambers to serve in matters both foreign and domestic for the councils of Nymeria. But that is, of course, a very heavy crown to wear for one such yourself, a free spirit, as I believe you spoke of some years ago.
There is, I assume, no way for me to speak with my father, or more so my mother, about any of this?
Oh, I am terribly sorry, and truly you have my deepest condolences on the matter, but your mother has not been able to be reached since she entered Elderwind, and your father, being the Echo at this point, is far too busy for such matters at this point. It is why the task has fallen to me as your next closest, dearest friend.
Miss Downbay,
Yes.
do you want a moment to maybe muddle over your choices and perhaps voice some things with us or anything?
There is so much that I am just taking in right now, and I don't want to leave Sir Dawnseeker waiting an answer from me, although by historical standards, apparently that's what I've been doing for at least 10 years.
Quite.
I mean, so what's another hour, you know?
Would you so kindly afford me time to think?
Time is what you're asking of me? Why, Miss Downbay, I have waited some 10 years for this, a blink of an eye, and you came back so quickly as it was. Please, take all the time you need. I will afford you my man to stay and call me back when you're ready to come to a decision.
Thank you.
Of course.
Sir Luneth, before you go,
Apologies.
just a quick question. Sorry, I'm Celeste. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you, Celeste.
So, people of the city think that Vel just left to go adventuring?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So, what if they found out that she returned?
Well, of course, it would take a number of bardic sorts and talents to sway public opinion over the runaway daughter of the Dowenvays. But it would be a long climb that I would welcome to do so hand in hand with you, Velithil. I would, of course, be there to help you every step of the way of redeeming your good name. Apologies, Celeste. Is that an answer to your question, or might you require clarification?
No, I'm just wondering, would she have to marry you in order to take her rightful place?
Well, I mean, an unwedded woman in Nymeria is free to do so. There's nothing to say that she would need to marry me. No, not at all. In fact, I just simply think that she would have a difficult time here within the city establishing herself, finding a person so open to helping her, considering her circumstances, of course.
Right. It's not because of her family standing.
I believe that has everything to do with this.
Right. No, of course, yeah. It's not because you love Vel, it's just political gain. No, I got it now, sorry. Completely cleared up.
You, as you say the word love, there is zero reaction from this guy. Like, if ever you found somebody who is very, like, just purely pragmatic and purely analytical, it's this guy.
You think we could get a baby goat in here? They're gone.
I don't think a baby goat would afford any type of decision-making assistance at this time. I do apologize.
Just find them relaxing.
Oh, of course. If you would like, I could have the noise of a goat played for you. Maybe that would help you.
No, something tells me for some reason it would be a goat screaming that you would play for me, and I don't that.
Well, truthfully, I'm not sure what noise the god would make, but we could have them act like a goat for you if that is what you'd like.
I see. I see. Okay. Nope. What? It's okay. That was thank you though. That was very nice, kind of you.
There's a light panic sweat across Orville's brow at the mere mention of a goat.
Yeah, just trauma.
Eyes darting about wildly.
Yes. Goat, where's the goat? He kind of looks to Celeste and goes, very good then. Might there be anything else I could assist or answer for you or your friends, Velethil, before I afford you this time?
If I confirm all the stories about me and sign off my ascension, what is your intention past that? Would you seek out a different family to strengthen your name, or?
Well, that'd be a difficult one, of course. I haven't truthfully given it much thought in the matter. As it stands, I have a role to play for my family, as my father and mother have handed to me, that I am a grieving suitor who so desperately wanted to marry the most powerful bloodline in all of Nymeria. A woman born with arcane ability far beyond that of the normal. So thus the role I play. Maybe give it, I don't know, a century, and then I'll take such considerations again.
I think I just need to consider everything about my life once more. Decide what is best to do now.
Very good, then. I will leave with your permission, and as I have stated, afford you, my man, to call me back once you have reached a decision. Might I leave the documentation I brought so that you might review it?
Yes.
Very good. He reaches into a pocket, just like a regular pocket on his outfit, and produces from it, like this small pocket produces these large, and I mean like hefty looking scrolls that have been wrapped up, and he sets 3 of them down on the table. He of course leaves out a fresh quill and ink, sat down before you. He goes, please have a look over. You'll see it's all purely academic at this point. Should you have any questions, just speak of it, and I will do my utmost to explain things, but you're much smarter than most, and much smarter than I, so I'm sure you'll have no issue with that. You are your father's daughter, after all.
When I am ready to speak with you once more, how should I refer to your man?
Well, they are rather curious. They don't speak, but they seem to resort or rather respond to snapping rather well. Should you speak to them, they should be fine.
But I have quite a bit of reading to do.
So you do. I will, with your permission, leave you to it.
You may go.
Thank you, Miss Downfay. He stands up, and you see the cane pop up off the ground when he stands. You hear a clicking sound, and it flies back into the sleeve of his long kind of like jacketed coat and shirt. He turns, and with kind of like this kind of like gracefulness, this poise, where he never really like kind of like walks. He kind of just like soars across the ground. He kind of like waves his hand over, and you see his cloak fly up off the hook and around his shoulders again. You hear a clicking sound as the chain that guards his cloak kind of locks back into place. He turns and looks, and you can see the shimmer of a chameleon sort echo out from the side of the room, and you see this all black kind of like hooded figure, or kind of like masked figure, kind of look and stare at him, and he turns and looks, and does anyone here speak Sylvan? Sorry, not Kobold Jones. Kobold Jones is dead in an alleyway somewhere. Okay. Well, you hear the voice very much of like even further kind of druidic, more like effectively it would be like Latin to English in a sense, of Sylvan. And he kind of gives an order to this individual. You see them twist their head unnaturally and twist back, and there's kind of like this, if you've ever played like Soul Calibur, there's almost like this Voldo-esque kind of feel to this individual who's in this leather suit. And you start hearing this popping sound and twisting sound, and they bring one of their hands up to their own throat, and you see them squeeze down on their kind of jugular for a moment before ripping the front of their throat out, and you see a spray of blood and crimson. As they hold this chunk of flesh in front of them, they shake and twist, and you see the flesh land on the ground and begin to grow, and in a mere moment, you see 2 identical individuals in black outfits with the same kind of blackened mask. The first now holding this kind of like bloodied throat, and you see this black, almost like ebony look of light kind of shimmer ever so slightly, and you can immediately see this kind of like fully restored portion of both their outfit and throat. They kind of turn and look at each other, almost like this kind of like mirror spot of like when one moves, the other moves, and there's this almost alien look and understanding between the 2 of them. One turns and looks in kind of like deadly locks on Velithil. Its eyeless mask kind of more or less just standing as a blank canvas to kind of like loom over you. The other one turns and looks, and with a kind of wave of his hand, the door opens, exiting the room, and you see the copy follow out Sir Dawnseeker. You hear the door close, and you all are left in a room with the silent one.
That was a lot. JJ will pour a tin of wine for Vel and hand it to her. So where do we want to start with? Maybe going over this contract?
Yeah, that's.
You want to have a good cry first?
Yeah,
I.
Could do that. Well, I mean, just thought.
We could go for a cry break, and in fact, it's 8:34 right now. Let's go for a cry break. I'm thinking, what, 5-10 minutes? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot for like let's be weird. Let's shoot for 7 minutes. So we come back at 3:42 or 8:42. Jesus, 8:42, guys. So we'll be back in 7 minutes for more Second Awake and the decision that lays ahead from Elven culture. See you guys after the break. Peace. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Hi, Korim Zamir, Seekers of Galanti, Second Wake. Hey, we're back. Hope you had a great break. I know I did. You know how I know I did? Because your boy went and got some... Oh, you can't even see it because it's green frosting. I didn't think about the green screen. I got leftover birthday cake. So, just gonna have me a little piece right here. Oh,
Invisible cake is low calorie, right? So it's the healthiest?
Yeah, of course. If I can't see it, the calories can't see me.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sticking after the break. However many people are watching, probably like 4 or 5 of you guys. Really appreciate you guys. You level 20 characters. We loves you. So before the break, the group has been staying at the what we would affectionately refer to as the spa. It's just like a happy-go-lucky place. They had to throw out the trash the other day, so that guy had to go. But past that, they got to meet a very lovely individual known as Sudan Seeker. And yeah, that's just how that goes, I guess, right? So with that, we go right back to it. Left with a choice to make, a silent one in the room. The group is now left with a number of important legal documents that they are to review and make a decision on as to the future that Velithil Dowenve wishes to pursue, whether that be of her own life choices or that of her home here in Nymeria. And that's where we'll go. So, take it away, Seekers. I'm here when you have questions.
JJ would help Vel meticulously go through these contracts and legal documents, just looking for anything that may seem weird.
A lot of it probably seems weird to JJ, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, both, I mean, you're a bard, you're not really a lawyer. Also, you're not really, like, boned up on your, like, elven legal, like, constitute or, like, what Aurelian culture is really like, especially that of noble Aurelian culture, being that you're kind of like a farm girl.
When does that subclass come out? Bard, College of Lawyer?
Yeah.
College of Law?
College of Law. I think
Needs to happen.
I think the thing I've been wanting to do is I want to do, because I think one of the cleric domains is law, and I would love to just be a high speaking, like, I'm a lawyer. I passed the bar, I got my certifications. Like, I would love that. I would love to play like a cleric who isn't like a worshiper of a god. He just believes in the law. And and I could probably make him an Aarakocra. That way we could have legal.
I was going to say!
Gotta do legal. Get a big shout out.
Oh no, because then you're also a practitioner of bird law. You're all of the memes.
Yeah, all the law and bird law. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to do. Maybe I'll switch that for like a character I play one day. So yeah, you look over it. So the 3 documents, they're all written in Elven. Firstly, so do you read Elven? Yep. Okay, good.
I do.
So all written in Elven are 3 pertaining documents. They're the 3 things that the council hand has kind of provided to your group. The first is effectively like an NDA of sorts. It breaks down the kind of like current story, stating that Velithil would agree and sign off to the truthfulness that she was promised to the Lord, that with that, the kind of like the Dawnseeker house was to unite with the Downvey houses to usher in what they believe to be, through no uncertain terms, a heraldry of a very powerful elven house. It effectively just confirms that. It confirms that, or more or less signs off on, more or less, Velithil assigning all the blame of this kind of arrangement falling through on herself. Saying, and it kind of states that she had sought adventures in faraway lands. She had sought to become a seeker. She had sought, to be closer to other magical discoveries within the world, and kind of like a very beautiful, like, you read it and it's definitely not every part of it is lawyer speak. A lot of it is like very bardic and like built up to be this kind of like beautiful story where if you read it, it doesn't really sound like anyone's at fault. It just sounds like a flight of fancy, but unfortunately the laws of the land had to, separate these two people and all this other stuff. There's a place to sign, a place to date, and then a place for a witnesser to sign and date, and a place for a seal, which Vel, that you would need your signet ring to do such. Something that would probably be afforded to you in this instance. The second document, as you review, seems to discuss the familial rights of the Dauenve fortune and house itself. All of the political backing, all of the entitled things, the lands, and any kind of like just base level things that kind of coincide with it are to be, and from what it seems like, kind of signed over and sworn over to two members of an estate. The first, let me see here. Boop-a-doop-boop. Yes. The first being Sarlin Dauenve, the Echo. He is to be the primary on the estate, and then it actually lists secondary, failing him either claiming the Dauenve mantle or taking over as the head of, if anything were to happen to him, or if he were to retire to Elderwyn, all of the worldly possessions of the estate would then turn over to Luneth. And he's kind of listed as the second on the account. There's a place to sign, a witnesser, and a date for both. The third one is a rather curious one. It is actually a writ of self-imposed exile. It is a writ more or less stating that Velithil will have effectively entered into a treaty of non-interaction between Aurelia and the remainder of her doings, so long as she so lives. It is signing over her rights, abilities, and citizenships of Aurelia, and effectively stating that she is an independent elf that exists within the Everwild and does not call Aurelia her home. It also means that she loses any type of entitlement that would come with being a high-born noble elf of Nymeria. It means that she will not be able to retire to Elderwyn. It means that she would forfeit any chance to own land. And it also means that she would be treated as an outsider should she ever visit Nymeria again. Meaning that within the first ring of the city, would the same as the rest of you, would be the only places in the city that she would ever be allowed entry to, and even then on a kind of case-by-case basis. It'd be effectively like swearing off that she is of Aurelia. And then there's a place to sign and kind of go through that as well.
Okay, so basically on that third one, it just says that she essentially, like, if she ever has to work in the area, perhaps maybe that would be a reason why she could be in the area.
So it's not as cut and dry of like, you cannot stand on our lawn. There's a general understanding and consensus, even within Elven culture, that while Weavers Chosen are not as respected, or rather, they're not as like worshipped or held in high regard as other places of the world, Aurelia still admits that there are people who are possessed of supernatural or ridiculous power that are Weavers Chosen, that are a cut above other folks. And with that, there's no, like, they don't hunt you down in the wood and go, you can't be here, and kind of like kick you out. It's just the understanding that like she's effectively getting rid of her national like rights. So it's more like of a political thing than anything else. If you guys had to go hunt down some crazy monster in the Nymerian forest, no one's going to look weird at you. It's also part of the reason why in the document it states that she'd still be permitted within the first ring of the city on a case-by-case basis. It more or less seems to shore up the idea that like if you did accept the job in the future to do a certain thing, you could meet your contact within the first ring of the city without being booted. Unlike Iridan, who is probably face down in the mud at this point and loathing himself.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
You know, Miss Fell, these don't seem horrible as documents, but I know that this is a very personal, very big decision for your life.
It's a matter of I've walked away from what my parents had built and the expectation. And I didn't think that at any point that would mean that I would have to give up everything that I once had, that all of this. I always thought it would be the Weaver's chosen and I would make the world better because I could see how I could help, because I could see the path before me and what was left behind in this world without the Weavers. I didn't think I'd ever lose my home for that.
Did you ever have intentions of coming back?
I assumed at some point I would. We'd likely have some sort of mission or adventure in this area, and we'd have a nice little romp through what I've always known, you know, at least in the first ring for all of you. I didn't think I'd come back and literally everything that I've known has been changed, and all of this blame placed on my mother and me because I left, so there was an opening for whatever story they needed to tell to keep everyone in, of course, the highest accordance. It wasn't just that I had said no and denied the Dawnseeker family. No, I never said no. I ran off so they could keep their story and all their fucking grandstanding of how important. I'm sorry, this is...
You're allowed to feel your feelings. I mean, that's why we ask for this personal time so that, you know, you can work through this, because this obviously ain't anything light. It's given up essentially who you were born to be, perhaps, and are.
All right to my family. After this, I use the name Dow in vain. It's just pomp and circumstance. There's no value to it. I hold no right to anything because I walk away from it. But if I don't do that, I walk away from everything that I've sought to be, that I left home for. That Mother lost everything that she did.
It's almost like they want you to cut off part of yourself. Just ignore who you want to be entirely. You have to choose. It's like they
I
just
didn't-
want you to choose.
I mean, that's how it always was. That's how it always felt, especially growing up. I was working as like a page or a clerk for assisting and just keeping documents in order for my parents. It was always training towards rising up to the same position. That's how it is here until if you reach high enough and go to Elderwyn.
And there's really no way we could ever. I understand that your father's a busy man now. But you'd think maybe he could somehow make some time for his. I don't know if you've got any siblings or anything, but a daughter that's been away.
Now, if I had any siblings, they would have already taken care of all of this. They would have passed all right. They could have written through my parents to make them the primary.
I figured.
At least I assume that's what they would have done. But with me alive, but not accounted for, to be able to... That's the big hole in all of it for them. And all of this that Luna stands to benefit from.
They sure do seem to benefit a lot.
Yes, well, he was the one who was so harmed and offended. His name and individual, his everything was put on the line because of my actions, because I ran away. So, of course, he would take that as the opportunity to gain everything he could from it.
I mean, Sir Lunith?
That's the
Yeah.
game around here.
Well, I don't mean this to be rude. But it sounds like your dad kind of had something to gain too. I mean, he sacrificed your mom so that he didn't have to suffer.
I don't think that's what happened.
I mean, don't you think he could have stopped it?
He had already moved away from the Senate and the Council. He was... Someone wanted him back in position. And then they must have put pressure, because of me, to remove my mother and to force him to take a role.
Your mom seems like she was a powerful lady around here.
She was.
Sounds like we'll be getting that fort tonight, huh?
I don't know.
Hey, Celeste.
Yeah?
Do you think you could maybe, like, stack stuff up really high? I know you're really strong. So, like, we could make a really, really, really cool fort, yeah?
I mean, yeah, but we don't have a lot of blankets. That's the whole point,
Yeah.
you know? Oh, I like where you're going with this. Okay.
Vel, I would absolutely love to be of assistance here, but I don't speak Elvish. I don't know the ways around here. And I feel like if I happen to open my mouth in the wrong way, it could really muck things up. So I'll be over here if you need me. But
I appreciate that, Olga.
yeah, one more thing, Vel. I ain't ever really known home outside with Lady G, and on the road you've really made it feel almost like home, or what I think home should feel like. And it might not be much, especially for somebody as long lived as you, but it's a good feeling for me. So I get what giving that sort of thing up would do for you, and I'm deeply sorry about it.
Thank you. That's...
I'm not crying.
Why is it raining?
Terrible day for
Terrible
rain.
day for rain.
Damn emotional goblin walked over, punched everybody in the just straight in the gut. Just like, oh,
Just right
like
in the
everybody.
emotional balls.
Guys, I need another cry break.
Another cry break. Fat. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that. Everyone who's like sticking on.
I appreciate you looking through everything with me, JJ, to try and find something untoward, but that's the whole point of all of this. This can all be perfectly in order to be represented for everything that they need. And they wouldn't want anything. It just requires on me to agree with the story and then give up everything. Not everything, to give up this.
Hey, Val. What if? This is a big if. What if in exchange for signing these papers, we make it so that we're able to at least see your dad one more time, and then maybe get like one family heirloom, so that way you at least have something.
I'm sure I could ask for that, at least a meeting, but I don't know if they'd allow it, and I'm certain they wouldn't provide me with anything. You have to understand that's literally what, well, these two mainly are about. I lose my right to all of that.
Yeah. You could get it before you lose all your rights, and then at least you have one thing.
That's... Well, that would just be stealing then.
Oh, no, because you get it before you lose your rights, and
then you lose rights, so you shouldn't have that, and then...
unless you gave it away before you lost your rights. Right? So, like, if you got it and you inherited it because it's your rights, then you gave it to JJ as a present because it's yours still, and then you sign the paperwork, and you just gave a gift away.
And what would I ask for?
I don't know. Anything like really cool that you've always wanted and that you couldn't have until now? Well, nobody can fight you for it anymore.
I really don't think you quite understand. That's anything that would be like that.
Huh?
Something so grand. It's not going to be given to someone who's signing paperwork away to...
Do you think that the guards would be able to contact your father?
No, they'll contact their head officer, and then he would contact a low-level representative of the council to contact a higher representative of the council to eventually reach the ears of someone like Sir Luneth to then be the one to decide to handle these things or to issue it further higher. But it's a lot of bureaucracy. That's why I asked him if I'd be able to see or speak to either of them. And if he says no, we're not going to find someone else who's going to get that to a yes.
That's what I was wondering.
At least not from in here. We don't have any other high-ranking members of the council to bend the ear of. I just had to let everything go. Otherwise, I can't continue to live my life because I have to let all of this go. But that's so hard.
Maybe like a family picture or like necklace. It doesn't have to be expensive. Expensive things don't necessarily mean they're worth anything.
Well, if they let me keep my belongings that I already had when I came here, I had my brooch that was already a gift from my mother.
Do you think they'd let us see your room? Like, from when you were a kid?
If I don't sign these and demand my right as the leader of House Downway, yes, we can go see everything that I would own. But I wouldn't be leaving the city then. I really think you're too focused on the little things that come with what I once had. When the decision is right now whether or not to go back to that.
I mean,
Because otherwise I have to give it up.
you weren't happy before.
I wasn't unhappy, I had a very good life. It was just boring.
That's why you left. Want to stay in Boringville?
Boringville is a ruler.
Well, I mean, technically yes, but think about it like this. Sir Lunith Looney Tune is only going to follow you around everywhere and probably plot your murder later on anyway, so why stick around for that? Just go and just die on our own somewhere else, you know? The family picture we're going to get.
So, what would be your ideal world in this situation, Bill?
In this situation, whatever this whole thing would have been ideal if I'd been able to speak, if it had been mother or father who had come here. Instead of Lunith, it'd be an ideal, different world altogether. From here, it'd be ideal if I could just tear these papers up and walk away, still holding everything and still being able to go and do what I please. But that's a fairy tale bigger than someday becoming the next Weaver.
That's fair. DM.
Yes, me.
For sending, can I have someone intimately describe someone? I'm
You
gonna
can
attempt to do a sending to them.
sure. You can certainly try that.
I know that we're in like a anti-magic cell, essentially.
Mm-hmm. But you mean like for when you leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could always try that.
Okay.
The bigger thing is if there's a way for you to get a visual representation of the person, that'll also work. So like if you have somebody who has like major image who can perfectly replicate how that person looks, that also could give you a chance at it.
You want to send to my mom, I can alter self and make myself look exactly like her, and then you can send to her.
Yeah.
we got techniques.
Yeah.
But that's a thing for not when we're shackled up for no magic.
Yep.
Because right now, we are two amazing pig farmers. Well, actually, I'm a really bad pig farmer. I have one arm.
I'm a great corn farmer.
Mm-mm.
That's it. You know, I would try and talk to your get at least one of your parents' attention if I could, but where we are is where we are.
It all seems very on purpose for it to be this way. It's all...
Yeah, I have a feeling they don't want y'all to interact much. It makes sense. He wants what he wants out of this, and
It's, if my father refuses or rescinds or ascends, and he takes it all. That's the point of it. Assign it all. And then other houses grow stronger because House Downvey is gone.
Vel, if an echo passes on, what happens? Do they choose someone, or is it the next person in line?
Well, and DM, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
the Echo is a position that is assigned by the council.
Correct. It is effectively the person that they feel in Nymeria at this moment is the most suited candidate to converse with those who still exist within Elderwyn.
So it wouldn't be that his position would be passed down to me or anything.
No, I'm just thinking in the chance that you do indeed sign these documents. I don't want to put any sort of evil like that into the world or any sort of ill will. But yeah, it was just a thought that fluttered on by.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking the same thing. Like, would something happen to your father? I suppose.
It's possible.
But I
And
thought
that
the
we have to
documents-
assume.
I thought you said the document said that rightful name would go to your father then next.
And then,
Yes, my father will be head of the house, and then this right that passes in case of his denial of claim or his retirement to Elderwind, the right of the House Downvey would then pass to my once betrothed as next kin to the family, as there is no one else beyond me. You can make assumptions as to whether or not my father would be removed from the picture or if he would just be forced into Elderwind, same as my mother was.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Phil. I feel like the explanation of how they handled your mother was kind of like a forewarning, maybe.
Like I said, it's all just a part of the political game. It makes sense. They saw fit ways to take gains and remove others, gain political power of their own. And well, even Celeste said it, my father could be in on that. I don't know.
Maybe we just don't repeat that I said that again, because if he's not and then something happens, then there's this thing called guilt weighing over me, and I don't...
I'm so sorry that you'd have any guilt over you for anything pertaining to any of my entire life here right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
You can just let me have that guilt. That would be good for me.
Okay, here's the guilt back.
Thank you.
Hey, question, clarification, DM. There a window in this cell?
Yeah, you there's it's like a bit high up. but like even pulling up on your tippy toes and looking, you can look and view. You see like an open air, like sky.
Orville,
Yesen?
I give you a little boosty boost, and you just peek how far down is that droppy drop.
I could certainly do my best.
Celeste, we have one of those things in here.
We're just trying to get a peeky peek out the window. If we find a bird.
I want it dead.
No, you see, we gotta look.
I can tell you if there's a bird.
Sense the bird.
Is there a bird?
There are several birds.
There are many birds.
Many
Celeste. There's also a goose egg on you.
Don't you touch the egg. Don't touch egg.
Hmm.
Okay. We have an agreement.
But Celeste,
here.
it's real close to meat, and I'm getting snacky.
Little snacky. Little snacky
Snacky.
snack.
Egg is off limits, okay? Take it
Fine.
off.
All right. What about this, Celeste? Hear me out. We take the egg, we set it up on the window after you give me a boosty boost. One of these stupid birds comes over and it's like, oh, that's my egg. This is my nest. And then I get the bird, and I'm no longer snacky.
Well, what if the egg falls out the window?
I'll
One
catch
less
it.
goose in the world.
Okay. You know what? At the window. Forget it. I'm gonna go over here. Blanket and my egg. Scary.
Can I ask a technical question?
Yes, please.
Would attunement be restricted in this room?
In a sense, yeah. Like it's not so much that it's restricted of it. It's just that like you're talking like unattuning from your doll so you shrink.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could do that. That'd be easy enough to do.
JJ,
Yes, ma'am.
two things. First, thank you for giving your name, for putting out that honesty in this situation. I know that you hold that a secret that I don't think anyone in this room even knew.
Jackie.
He didn't
We'll
get the
never-
second one, though.
No,
Never
I noticed
repeat
you.
that.
But
Solemnly swear.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Of course. I figured
Um,
you'd do similar.
Well, that's my second question to you then. You asked me when we were making our way here what I would do if the situation would reverse. Now, I'm curious to you. What would you do in this situation reversed? And I know your life is different, but I know you hold your family very, very, very important. What would you do?
You know, I've been trying this whole time to put myself in your shoes, because as you said, I have a kind of bond with my own family. It's so hard to say. I have to say that I'm stuck like you. But I think it really depends on how big of a situation it is. Like this is... It almost feels like the end of the Down Bay line, you know? In like a weird way. Signing off those documents. And I don't know I know that your culture's very different. Maybe it's the pride in the family name and what all's been accomplished and whatnot, but it's hard because I left my own family to live my own life and make my own choices and make my own way. And I mean, going back to run a family farm and a distillery ain't nothing like running a whole civilization of folks. It's honestly still hard to say. I might personally go back, but I don't know if that's right for you in this instance. I don't know if that would be what makes you happy in the long run.
I don't know. That's one of the things that bothers me the most about it, is that if I sign this... See, I won't see my mother again unless I go to Elderwind, unless that is where I end up. And if I sign this, that's not what will ever happen to me. I will never reach the highest and grandest standing of what it is to be of Nymeria. I apologize to her.
Were y'all close?
I think that she understood me more than anyone else. Except maybe until some of you in this group.
I've said it plenty of times, but I'll say it again. Your choice is your choice, and I think I'll always support you in that. I don't think you've steered us wrong at all, but I know that this choice ain't. It's a lot different than a lot of the other choices we've made.
Oh, what I wouldn't give to have any of the previous choices presented before me instead of this.
Do you think that... I know that y'all elves such long lives and can live so many different lives even. I don't know if maybe one day you'd ever get back out there. Maybe I'm thinking that I would go back because I only have so long. I live a fraction of what you live.
That's true, but you look at it for someone who was banished like Bartholomew 600 years ago, and still, when someone finally recognizes him, right out the door. Maybe I'd be more welcome than that, just as a visitor in the first ring, but... that's what my home becomes to me. Or I could not sign this, but not agree to his terms and stay in prison forever.
more.
You could. You certainly could.
That's not a good option, is it?
Um,
I'm just getting a
That's right.
little.
No, but you know what? We could perhaps even have Lady Galante hire you a professional legal team instead of some backwoods broad like me reading over your legal documents. It's just
Good. Call a bird to the window.
Why
why are we so hung up
are
on
you?
birds?
Because how little does Morgan get?
Fairly little. About,
Back
what, 12 inches?
of a bird, little?
Mhm.
She could just on a little bird and go get us some help.
Where would she? I gotta
don't know, I
ask.
hadn't
Where
gotten
would
that
she?
far.
I appreciate the ingenuity, and I'm sure Ms. Vel does, but
Come up with another stupid plan in another 10. I'll get back to you.
you know what? It's all good fun, honestly.
I appreciate the inane desperation to try and find a different answer.
Always try.
Clarification question. Chonkini can change into a bird, can he? But could Morgan get on Chonkini?
I could, but I can't summon him.
Oh, right, because he's not. Yep, got it. Okay, do you think you could just agree to marry the guy and then he'll just let you leave and do whatever you want? Because technically he'll have the rights to your family name anyways. Then at least you could keep your status in your family name.
I won't be leaving if I do that.
There has to be a way.
There has to be a better way. See, that would be a multi-year plan. I'd agree. I'd hold all my family's holdings. I'd marry him. And then I'd run away again. I bet I could get that out and taken care of in a good 10 to 20 years. Would everyone be good to gather back up in 10 to 20 years?
We don't have to wait in here though, right?
At our rate, I hope I live another 10 to 20 years, to be honest.
Oh.
No, but there would be a wedding that you could be a maiden at like you wanted then.
That would be exquisite.
Yep, I'm ready.
Wait, why don't I get to be a maiden?
Orville, you can of course be a maiden.
Oh yeah.
What if, so what all entails being a councilwoman or a senator or anything? Do you, like, get to make laws? Do you get to...
Oh, the laws are already written. You mostly just sit around and argue about them.
do you, like, No, they probably wouldn't hire a ragtag group of folks anyways like us.
He wasn't lying about the fact that you are likely the furthest welcomed, and I mean welcomed because you were welcome to be here, into prison, into Nymeria, in I don't know, several hundred years since any non-elves have been this far in.
Well, it is because we're in jail.
At least this much, and I want you all to hold this in truth. I got you into a very nice jail. This isn't one of those horrible. Like this is comfortable.
Appreciated.
This is far more comfortable than anything I've ever been thrown in for a night.
I have to sign this. I can't give up the life that I've sought. I can't give up everything that I am still striving to be. I don't know who that makes me for what I'm giving up, and I don't know.
Well, let me just harp on Orville a little bit,
Oh, please do.
or rather on what he said. You've helped make the road feel like home, and this group feel like home. I don't know if you feel the same way about it with all us, but you've got a home here too. You've got a home in Deerwood. And I'll find some way to get you in contact with your mom. Or your dad. But it seems preferably your mom somehow. At least maybe a sorry or a brief explanation, but I might make that my personal mission if you sign those documents.
I wouldn't want you making that your personal mission without me being involved in it.
Of course.
But I do appreciate it. As it's been such a shockingly short amount of time since... What was it? A month ago even? Not even? That we left Deerwood for our first real assignment? After all of that nothing? If this had come up after then, I couldn't have signed it. I would have had to return home. But after everything we've been through, even in such a short time, I can't just abandon all of you. Not even just what I want. This, you have become family to me. Celeste, you're still probationary family, because I only met you like a week ago. 3 days ago? No, a month ago. I keep forgetting a month has passed.
Technically,
Oh my god, I owe Iridin a month and a week of pay.
Oh,
We're going to pay him when we get out of here.
I need to, we need to figure out where he is. Maybe
I
we should-
assure you he is crying against a wall or a tree somewhere. And probably running away from a sword.
Perhaps, perhaps we could somehow make it so we get out of here as soon as possible, but also tell them that we will get Bartholomew out of here as quick as possible if he can leave with us, because
We
they
have to
need
find
out of their
him.
hair.
And we have to find Jones.
Jones is the other issue.
So I need to stop wasting time. I just have to accept this, because otherwise... we have friends outside who need us.
Are you sure?
I mean, what am I if I don't sign this? I just wave goodbye to all of you?
It would hurt. It would probably hurt for a little while. But I wouldn't blame you.
I'm still on
'Cause then-
probationary period, so I wouldn't be so hurt. If you could hook me up with a horse, though, that'd be cool. Maybe a baby goat.
No goats.
Why? Oh, why do you want a goat so much? Why do you want birds and goats? Are you just trying to hurt JJ and Orville?
Yeah, those are like the two
know
worst
what you
things for the
mean.
both of us.
JJ seems to be driven mad by birds recently, and
Okay.
you don't know about Orville's thing with goats, do you?
He's always
Oh.
hated goats.
And Celeste's gonna pull out her goat hat and put it on. I don't know about anything with goats. I just really think they're cute.
Gave you your goat hat back. Some guard walks in and just steals your goat hat back and walks out with it.
The silent
oh,
one who's done
thank
nothing.
you.
Just immediately.
Thank you.
It's like rotted and
The hell let you keep that? We took all your stuff.
Oh, I totally forgot.
We're sitting in jail. We just got all our stuff.
Oh, I forgot I had this file and thieves' tools.
Oh, look at my little snack.
Look at this birthday cake with a file in it.
He did say any important items could stay with them, and I can't think of anything more important than a goat hat. So
It's probably fair, to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
to be fair.
Thieves' tools are considered religious, okay? I'm allowed
Thieves
to keep
tools
them.
are religious. I worship the god of thieves. They're a religious item. My
Bingo.
spellcasting focus.
mask.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Everyone
100%.
knows mask.
These are my lockpicks of worship.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that. I thought you knew that I had those on me.
But you knew that, like, hey, sorry. You instead of like a rosary, it's just like it's like a tumbler pick and like like a file.
Little mirror.
Yeah, it's a little mirror. It's a very unique necklace. Thank you. It gets me out of a lot of jams.
Next to the little doll.
All right. So what's the play?
We used the bedding to build life-size dummies of each of us.
I think that
That's good.
starts. I like the plan, but it needs to start with we need more time for deliberation. Bring us pillows and blankets for a fort.
Also, she needs her goat hat.
Ain't no party like a goat hat party because a goat hat party don't.
Ah!
No, very slowly but trepidatiously. Vel will sign.
Sign somebody else's name.
Donald Duck.
You signed Donald Duck?
No.
Did you sign him on this bill? All right. Yeah. So you're gonna sign them?
Now I'm gonna sit here for another half an hour and think about it. This is the one where you're like, I'm gonna do it, and then
That's fine. I mean, well, I got none but time. Everyone in Discord, if Velphil is stalling, you can go in Discord, write me an angry letter, and I'll delete it.
I could delete it too.
Oh yeah, also mod, you can delete it. Kobold delete. It's like a regular delete, but a kobold did it, which makes it better.
That's permanent, and it hurts the ego.
Hurts the ego. I'm short.
But you just injure me, and then they'll take me out to get healed, and then I'll like sneak back in with tools.
yeah, that's the only third option I can think of is beginning the
Okay.
process of trying really stupid escape plans.
That would hurt
You
my
mean this
bird
isn't a
plan.
jailbreak episode?
Well, at this point, no, because we're near the end. That would be next week, starting with jailbreak episode. Actually, I'm not gonna sign them yet. I want to have the Silent One inform Lunith. I'd like to speak with him.
Okay. So you kind of express and you say, go ahead and call your lord. The Silent One kind of like gives an understanding look, and then seems to almost like shake and twist and then melt into a puddle of black mist before quickly evaporating from the floor tiles. Within a few seconds, the door unlocks, opens, and the other Silent One walks back in. And then Sir Lunith Dawnseeker returns back and kind of like looks through the bars to you, sees that the scrolls are still kind of like rolled up. Goes, well then, to what have we decided, Velethil?
I think I've come to a conclusion, but I have one question about the relinquishing of my familiar rights.
Yes.
Why are you stated as a secondary?
Well, as your father has no more children to herald his name, or a loved one to take over in the event of his departure, I was nominated to be listed on the arrangements as a stead for the family. It was not something I requested personally, but it was something that was offered to me as a great honor in doing so. While you and I may never see eye to eye on our relationship as it is, your father did not want to miss out on his chance to unite the houses that he so sought after.
Can I give a glance to JJ and Orville? See if either of them... I'm not trained in insight, but I'll roll an insight myself. Yeah, because I'm...
Get this.
If I may?
Yeah, same. Like about like maybe her dad seeming to have nominated him, or like any
Sure.
truth to that.
Yeah, you guys can all roll insight if you'd like.
I've got a dirty 20.
Okay.
17.
17? Okay. Orville says, the law is blind and so am I.
Can I roll insight on douchebaggery level?
Oh, he is very much a douchebaggery level, yeah.
Over 9,000.
He's the king of douchebaggery.
Oh, he's an elf.
Yeah, with
in a cream game.
So untrained out of 17, there's nothing that he said that seems like it's wrong. It's hard to get a read on him in general, as he's not really an emotional person and doesn't really deal with anything other than facts and figures. With the 17, you just get the assumption, or rather feeling, that like your dad and his father, Volman, would have been the two that would have discussed this arrangement to begin with. So it wouldn't be unheard of. It doesn't sound like it's just like straight up a lie. Now there, of course, there's probably misgivings and all that, but at a 17, you're kind of like, it could be true, you know? Trained at a 20, while you don't know Elven culture, and there's not much to go off of for this individual as a read, it does feel a little strange that the guy that is effectively standing with everything to gain is the one that is continuing to stand with everything to gain. There's just something that doesn't quite sit right with that. That's probably not so much someone lying to you, it's probably just intuition in general. But with the 20, you definitely get like, there's probably more to this story than is being let on.
JJ is just gonna walk up to Vel and kind of just put a hand on her and give her like the girl look of like, it's fucking sketch. The side eye of help.
Might you have further inquiry, Velithil?
And it would be impossible to speak with my father before signing any of these.
I unfortunately haven't spoken with him in a number of days at this point. He has been within his chambers and not to be disturbed as he communes with the Elderwin and seeks to inherit their divine knowledge. I do not think it would be available for several weeks or months at this point, and I would hate for you and your friends to be further kept from important matters befitting that of a Weaver's Chosen.
If I may, thankfully, if we're allowed to speak with our great lady Gulanti, our employer, she could definitely understand. I'm sure the great Mr. Echo could certainly make time for his own daughter. And she'll just stare him down.
Perhaps you are correct. It would be a first for such a thing, but if that is what you were wanting to wait for, then I will deliver such information to the council chambers, and they will make him apparent and aware of such things and matters. Yes, I don't see how that would be an issue if you do not mind the wait. I just fear, as some of you are rather short-lived, and what might be a trifle of wait for one such as myself or Velithil might be an agonizing delay in the lives of the rest of you.
Doesn't he work for you?
No, I
Doesn't
work
he
on the
for
behalf.
council?
I am the hand of the council and head of the treasury. I truthfully work very closely with them, but I serve them as they are my masters.
Oh, so if Vel came back and she joined the council, you would work for her?
If she was redeemed in a way of which she would be brought into the council, yes, I suppose that is true.
Crazy. Okay, so doesn't her dad work for the council, which is your hand, right? Okay, cool.
I think you have a very skewed understanding of our culture and how things work.
No, for sure.
The echo is that of the voice, one that speaks through and is used as a mouthpiece of the greatest known minds of our culture. Those people who are better, brilliant, and bright, beyond worldly knowledge, are given instruction to how the populace should move, react, and overcome. We at times reach out to them for guidance with worldly events, and they in turn respond with the wisdom nearing that of divinity. It is for that reason the echo repeats what is said from the Elder Wind, and the council interprets that message, and the hand makes things move.
Wow, so he's talking to the council all day, huh?
He's interpreting from Elderwind for several days. I wouldn't assume one such as yourself to understand such things.
Oh, no. I just can't. It's crazy because Vel's mom is an Elderwind, right? And so that means that Vel's mom is pretty cool, right? And so she's kind of a big deal, which means Vel is technically kind of a big deal because she's part of her mom. So, It's crazy that
I apologize.
such a big deal.
Are you
coming
perhaps...
together.
Are you perhaps a member of a rat folk tribe?
Oh, I don't actually think I've met any rat folk before.
It is
You say that.
rather astounding, as the amount that you chitter is very in line with them.
Oh, I've never met a rat folk. What are they like?
Oh, delightful vermin that squeak endlessly until you silence them.
Cute, actually.
Oh,
How big are they?
well, I don't know, what, you're 6 foot, 6'2", maybe?
Mm-hmm.
About like that, I guess.
Rat folk are 6 feet?
Some of the bigger
Tall.
ones, yes.
Oh. Wow, that's really cool. Where are they found?
All over, it seems.
Is Belle's dad available now?
I'm afraid not. Again, you're more than welcome to wait.
Just keep chatting until he is.
Oh, of course. Unfortunately,
Oh.
my time does draw near, and I have a number of other important matters to see to this day, so... Velithil, if you have decided against this arrangement, and you would prefer to wait for your father's availability, then of course we will spare no expense in ensuring that you and your friends are as comfortable as possible to stay here until a time of which your father is ready to speak with you.
I think what she would lack is that the offer stay on the table.
I apologize, I was not addressing you. Now, I have spared no amount of politeness and niceties, but I would ask that while the important people in the room are discussing important matters, that you take a moment to think about where you're at.
DM?
Yes.
If I didn't sign and began the process to ensure, like, how hand-tied do I think I would be?
What do you mean?
Like, what's my freedom at if I don't sign these to try and maintain my right? Like, what?
Oh, you would be giving up your freedom of leaving the city for years to come at this point. From what it's been made aware of in the documentation presented, there has been what many would assume politically to be like irreparable differences in the story as the truth as you know it, and the story that's being told within Nymeria. You would, if you wanted to, you would be able to work with Luneth in the attempt to kind of save the Downvey name and bring it back to the light of its former glory. There's still a lot of like great stuff on it because of where your father's at, but it's also like kind of a weird mixed bag and mire of kind of like rumor and innuendo. But yeah, I mean, you know that Elven society, culture, government does not move quickly. They would rather shut their borders and take years-long considerations, decades even, before truly enacting a policy or movement on such things. It's just the way that things typically go. So yeah, you would effectively be trying to do an entire political career, which even real world, that takes a lot of money, a lot of financial backing.
Yeah, we're talking about the Elven version of that. I get it. Yeah.
It's like if Congress was like, well, no one's going to die in the next 100 years. Let's just talk about that later. Instead of being like, we don't have a budget this year. They're like, we'll figure out the budget in like, I don't know, 200 years, whatever. Like when the council goes on vacation, it's It's like a season.
Now I'm having the crisis of what the player wants versus what the character wants.
I don't know, man.
I am sorry to have wasted what time we have so far. So, Luneth, let's get these papers taken care of.
Very
so
good.
we can be on our way.
Of course, and I will have it out of my own treasury. Any type of transportation or requirement you might need to go wherever it is that you go for what you do.
That is much appreciated, and I hope that the council and city of Nymeria continue to look fondly upon the works and house of Lady Galanti.
Of course, your dear Humanic lady will be held in the utmost regard, and I will personally speak her name on the council floor when this is filed away and discussed. This may be goodbye between us, but I would like to rest easily, knowing that you always have a friend here in Nymeria, and I will always have a friend in wherever you might be in the world.
Even though I may not have right to it, this is my home, and of course, if you need me, I'll be out there.
Curious opposition, curious indeed. I will take such a proposition under considerations, as oftentimes there is usefulness in things that are different and foreign.
It's something I have learned.
Truly, then you are wiser than all of us here.
I don't know about that. Because I feel like a fool right now, and I won't sign the agreements.
Okay. So you're going to sign the first one, that is the statement of fact of how things went. Who is your witnesser, or do you want Luneth to be your witnesser?
JJ will, if you ask.
Jackie, you've been my hand in so much of this.
JJ will silently sign and witness after Vel does each time.
Vel, as you sign the initial, you finish your name across the first one. You see Sir Luneth kind of go, "Oh, just a moment," and kind of opens the door once again and walks up to you, Vel, and reaches into his coat pocket and produces your family's crest ring. Because it's no good without your crest. He'll hand it to you.
I do every morning you have to do another one of these things, then I immediately regret it and doubt it.
Hi, audience. My name's Kareem Zamir. I write Dungeons and Dragons. Shit's dope. Thanks. That's where we're at. Very emotional episode. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it for what we had. Certainly, thank everyone for checking us out. We'll be back next Monday with the next part of this story as it unfolds and kind of moves through here. For everyone here, we're going to be rating Ink and Ire. If you're a subscriber to the channel, please make sure to use any of our emotes. Tell them the Goblin Raid sent you. Be part of our Goblin Army. But past that, we'll see everyone next week. Same second week time, same second week place. And we'll see what comes of this arrangement. As always, I've been Kareem Zamir. They've been the Seekers of Galanti. We'll see you next time. Peace out.